You have a right to be a disciple of Jesus. Jesus had lots of disciples, even 2,000 years ago. I know at one point the Bible names 12, but we know there were many more. There are millions now. Disciple at that time was a technical term for the followers of a rabbi, people who are chosen to follow him and sit at his feet to learn. You have a right to be a disciple of Jesus. Jesus's disciples were women and men, rich and poor, fragrant and smelling of fish. Maybe Martha felt that a woman's place was in the kitchen and it was inappropriate for a woman to be a disciple of Jesus. But Mary, you have a right to be a disciple of Jesus. And to be a disciple of Jesus, as with the disciple of any rabbi, means to be commissioned to speak of what you learn. The Archbishop of York puts it like this: to be a disciple is to be an apostle. To be an apostle is to be a disciple, formed to be sent, sent because we're formed. Mary, you will be the apostle to the apostles, the disciple for the disciples. Don't let anyone try to guilt you or dislodge you from your rightful, honored place at the feet of Jesus, even if they're your sister. And Martha, Martha, Martha. The point is not to blame you for being hospitable. The point is this: you also have a right to be a disciple of Jesus. You, just as much as your sister, you can listen to Jesus, be formed by Jesus, sit at Jesus' feet, be sent by Jesus. Martha, a woman's place can be out of the kitchen. And you, dear listener, you are welcome at Jesus' feet. You don't need someone else to stand between Jesus and you, as if Jesus had said, Mary, you go and help in the kitchen. Lazarus can sit at my feet and then tell you what he learns. No, it's like Pink Floyd almost said, you don't need no mediation. You are invited to be a friend of Jesus, a follower of Jesus, a learner formed to be an apostle. So, breathe deep and slow. Bring yourself as you are, your brokenness, your doubt, your failure to live up to God's standards, your failure to live up to your own standards, your weariness after COVID. You are accepted, forgiven, loved, chosen, taught. Keep breathing. You are now at the feet of Jesus. And as a child of God, you have a right to be there. Just you being you in the presence of God being God. And if you're anything like Martha, and frankly, anything like me, you'll find yourself being distracted by many things. At some point, those things may need to be dealt with. But right now, it's your opportunity to sit at Jesus' feet. So let them be. Don't get cross with yourself for being distracted. You're a beginner, it's bound to take time. I find it helpful to think of my attention as a kitten being house trained. When it gets it wrong, I don't shout at it. I gently but firmly bring it back and have another go at contemplation. You probably won't hear a voice, You may not even feel an emotion, but you being you in the presence of God being God is bound to make a difference to you. It's bound to form you as a disciple and prepare you as an apostle who'll be sent. At some point, you'll want to read a passage of the Bible. And that's good, because every page speaks of Jesus. And without the Bible, our contemplation of Jesus is just guesswork. But remember, the one thing needful is not Bible reading in itself, but paying attention to Jesus. Jesus wants you at his feet, and you have a right to be a disciple of Jesus. One more thing before I end. Martha never asks Mary to help her. Instead, she asks Jesus to speak for her. She says, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me. We call this triangulation. Triangulation is where one person will not communicate directly with another person and instead uses a third person to relay communication to the second, and that's what the triangle is. So maybe Jesus's issue with Martha isn't her work ethic. Maybe Jesus is refusing to be drawn into a conflict, not his own. If Martha has a problem with Mary, she should take that to Mary directly. Jesus refuses to be triangulated, which gives us a model when we need to refuse to be triangulated. I was a vicar for 13 years, so I did experience some triangulation. Curates often experience it. Some of us are concerned about the vicar's preaching. We know you'll understand. And if I'm honest, clergy can be the worst culprits. I just thought you and I could have a chat about how to handle Bob before PCC. If only church is determined to get rid of triangles. Instead of triangles, we need either straight lines or circles. Where there's criminal behavior or bullying or abuse, then there needs to be a circle, a process with proper confidentiality, but also proper reporting to people and agencies who can help. But most of the time, what's needed is a straight line, not allowing ourselves to be triangulated in, where there can be a direct conversation between the two people who have a dispute. And maybe Mary and Martha will discover their sisterly relationship is closer than ever when they've been able to discuss it. Sometimes we even triangulate when we should be talking to God. We go to a vicar or a shrine or a book. But if you have a question, a concern, a feeling to bring to God, you don't need to go to someone else. You don't need no mediation. You don't need no church control. You can have it out with God directly. You being you in the presence of God being God. I promise God won't mind. Remember, Jesus wants you to sit at his feet, and you have a right to be a disciple of Jesus.